Today, we're using PowerShell to dig into AWS to find out details about our instances. Ugh. Hey there, it's Tom with Tom's Tech Show. I do have another channel if you want to get into politics and things like that, Tom's Talk Show. So I'll put a link in the description over to that. But today we're going to be talking about just getting into our instances and getting details about it. Somebody had a question about how do I get the IP addresses of things. There's so much more information that you can find out. So let's just kind of get into this. So you have to do all the basic things, right? You have to connect to AWS and set your default region. Default region, we're going to do US West 1, which is California, which is actually the most expensive region. So we can do get EC to instance, and boom, we'll get some details about an instance. Now this kind of seems, like, what is that? There's not much information there. Well, let's put that into a variable. Boom, comes back. Okay, now we've got our variable. Okay, that shows the same thing, but we can dig in and do some more stuff. So let's take 0, the first item here, and look at instances. So some of these variables have data underneath them. So boom, there we go. We've got a little bit of information. We have the instance ID, we have the instance type, what platform it is, and our private and public IP address. So if I wanted the public IP address, I just type in, put some brackets around that, do public IP address, and boom, there I've got that data back, and I can use that to populate other things. But there's so much more information here. So if we take this back and we do some piping here and format this as a list, it's FL. You can do the whole thing out, format list, either way will work. So then boom, okay, there's a ton of information here that we're pulling up. Okay, so we've got our architecture, some block device mapping. So if you need to know the hard drive that's there, we can come back and look at that. Let's see, it's block device mapping. Spelled something wrong. Capacity, count, is fixed size. Hold please. Instances. Let's get block device mappings right there. Mappings, there we go. There's an S on the end of that. So that gets us those, and then we can go even further, put some parentheses around here, and put a dot, or just put a block here. Put a 0. Boom, and that gets us the first one. Then you can keep digging into this stuff. So there's our volume right there. You can even go as far as to put parentheses around here and get the volume ID. So if you need the volume ID for something, you can still dig in and get that. So you can see how we're combining different brackets, different indexes here. So we're I0. So at the beginning of this, which is the first, if this had been, there had been 10 instances, then that would have been, we could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, but we only have 1, so that's the 0. It starts at 0. And then instances, and then we can parentheses that out, get to the block device mapping. We want the first one, so that's the 0. And then the EBS volume there, and then put dot volume ID, and boom, that gets us the volume ID. So you can really drill down into these different variables about the instance. Okay, so you can still look at some other things. This is in testing, it's a T2 medium. We of course still have the private IP address, the public IP address, all that kind of stuff. So you can look at tags, the security groups that are behind it, a lot of different details that are here. So then you can go and sort and find out what information you want, be able to select on each of these different items in a query, populate different database data things and stuff in it. So pretty cool that you've got all of this information just to be able to suck through in PowerShell. All right, so there we go. And pretty easy to dig out and get some of that information. PowerShell makes it pretty easy just to kind of type through and be able to get that information for you. All right, so if you have any questions, go ahead and feel free to drop a comment below and I can answer those. Thanks for watching and take care.